Hi, I'm Robin Miller. I am the host of Miller Chat. And today we're doing another Zoom show. And I'm very happy to have Jessica Zorge. She is a licensed wildlife rehabber from Rapture Tales. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on Zoom. And I'm really excited because once in a while I do have animals, including my own therapy dog. And it's just that one of my vocations is that I like animals and I like to learn about them and I like to learn what people do. And I thank you very much for the service that you do for the animals. I consider you a first responder for animals that need your help.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So, to me, I don't know. I mean, I know what wildlife is and I know what rehabilitation is, but can you tell us a little bit about what is a wildlife rehabilitator? And what
Sure. So there are about 200 of us here in the state of Massachusetts. There's different levels of rehabilitators. So you can have a state license, meaning you go and you sit and you take this exam, and your state license allows you to do mammals, raptors, and birds that are not protected under the Migratory Bird Act. So you could do swans, pigeons, sparrows, starlings, those types of birds, and squirrels, red squirrels, gray squirrels, raccoons, bats, woodchucks, skunks. But if you wanted to do something like a raptor, which is anything that has talons, hawks, owls, eagles, falcons, vultures, you need a federal permit. So that is another level where you would sign up with someone who already has a permit. I got my training from Tufts University, and you have to log 200 hours in order to be considered proficient with handling, restraining these birds that can be sometimes dangerous. And then you have to have caging. They come to inspect to make sure you have proper housing, to make sure the birds are safe. So wildlife rehabilitators are not paid in Massachusetts. It's not a paying job. Most of us do have full-time jobs on the side, and we offer these services free of charge. We can't charge you to take in wildlife. People are allowed to donate, but again, it's fully 100% volunteer. Whether you find a turtle that's hit by a car, or baby squirrels that are without a mother, or a fox that's in your yard sick, rehabbers are in the state pretty much able to rehab every species. There are certain ones, eagles, falcons, coyotes, fisher cats. Some of them require more specialized licensing, but if you find something that's injured and you call, we can most likely get it to a rehabber that will accept it.
Oh,
so,
wow.
200 of us here.
So what made you, I mean, you don't do this for a full-time living, but what made you get into this?
So I started at Becker, and I majored in veterinary science. I always had a passion for helping animals. I also did a brief stint in the military, so I left overseas for about a year. And when I came back, it really sort of jolted me that I really needed to work with animals. I started volunteering at Tufts Wildlife Clinic in North Grafton and gained a lot of experience there. And then an opening was at that clinic, and I worked there for 6 years. And got a ton of experience with raptors. And hawks and owls just amaze me. I think that they're totally unique, incredible hunters, just great stories of survival. So that's where I put all of my focus, is wanting to rehab just raptors. I've rehabbed other things too, and I'm permitted to do so, but hawks and owls are my passion.
Now, you said that you served?
I was in the military. I went to Iraq in 2003. And I came back and continued.
Well, thank you for your service. What is your rank?
I was a specialist in the Army Reserves. I refueled aircrafts. A 77 Foxtrot was my MOS, my job.
I'm sure you saw a lot of raptures there too, animals.
I saw a lot of animals. It was mostly feral dogs that were on the air bases that I tend to feed part of my MRE to be honest. I didn't see a lot of raptors there, but I did see there was a lot of animals around. And when I got back, it really reminded me of I should be doing what I want. You know, I'm very lucky, and I should continue to try to get in with wildlife and with animals. So my full time job, I work as an animal behaviorist, and then I do all of the raptor stuff after hours at nights and on weekends, where I get most of the calls after 5 o'clock. There's not any other centers that are open to accept due to COVID. There used to be emergency
Um,
clinic hours. So if something was injured, you could bring it to a center and have it assessed. It's not the case anymore since March. So we've been getting slammed with all sorts of different animals. We got in at least a bird every night this week between police, animal control, environmental police, and the public. So we do work really closely with Tufts still. They are great at accepting patients that need critical care the next day, but I sort of am that stop prior to get it comfortable until it can make it to the clinic when they open.
so how do you go on vacation? I mean, maybe not now, but
You know,
who takes over?
yeah, so, you know, I haven't really hit that yet. We haven't done anything this year.
Mhm.
So the owls and hawks only eat once a day, and it's the injured animals, very minimal handling. We don't want to sort of put ourselves in their space. It's really stressful. They're not used to being around people. So a basic thing that we do is I weigh their food. I give them their food. I take away the food that's left over to just make sure that they're getting enough nourishment. And then once a week, I go in and I will catch them up and weigh them on a baby scale to make sure that they're staying stable, or if they're losing weight, I need to reassess of what I'm doing, or gaining too much weight, which can happen if they stay the winter. I tend to overfeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't gone away. I haven't really done anything for an overnight yet. I don't see it happening this year.
Oh, well, of course. And do you have any relation to the ecotrim? Because I know they have some eagles there.
So I don't have any relation. I know that Tufts, they do provide the veterinary care
Mhm.
for all of their animals, all of their
Yes.
program animals. And some of the animals that are on exhibit are actually from Tufts, because sometimes we get animals in that have injuries that make them non-releasable. So whether
Yes.
it's a young owl that has an impairment to its wing and it's not going to fly normally, in certain cases, you can place them into program situations. Not all of them fit the bill. Adult owls that have injuries, it's really not fair to have them live the rest of their life in that situation where they're not
Oh,
used to humans. But younger animals, the younger the animal, the better it is for them. They don't have a lot of knowledge of being in the wild, so a lot of those animals have come from the clinic.
oh,
And
oh,
this is
nice.
exactly when I bring out the barred owl. I'll explain how I had her and what her issues are. Um,
So I know that you had to advocate for yourself to get approved. Can you tell us a little bit about that process? In a
sure.
summary.
So it's interesting, and I'm very happy to the town. I'm very thankful for them to understand that this is a very this need is there, and
Oh,
a lot of people didn't understand that wildlife rehab was even a thing. So I'm very thankful that they allowed me to explain what rehabbers do and how important it is, and how beneficial it is to have one in your town. What happened is, so I have a state permit and a federal permit. So at any point in time, the authorities can come here and they can look at the birds in my care, and they can look at the caging and make sure everything's clean and safe and stable.
mhm.
Um, in Shrewsbury, they never had a rehabber asked to have permission to provide care here. So it was a very confusing and very runaround
Yes,
between
I saw. I heard that.
departments and higher ups and myself. But what was really frustrating was there's only 10 of us that do birds of prey. So I'm the closest one and the only one in Worcester County. There was a problem saying that it wasn't written in the bylaw, so therefore it was illegal. So halfway through asking for permission to place a structure that we had a fundraiser for, I was told that I could no longer rehab, which was really hard because it was in the center of baby season. So all of these animals needed care,
Oh,
and I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
couldn't take them in. So a local, Richard Ricker, who was awesome, a local lawyer in town, actually had reached out, and he was great with all of the paperwork and all of the bylaws, and helped to talk to the board, the zoning board. And it was nice to have everybody just sort of on the same page and say, this
Yeah.
is a benefit to the town. It doesn't cost the town anything. It's not, it's an added benefit for people who find injured things. So this process is still ongoing. It's on almost, we're in our 5th month now. So a local selectman Motopalo and Masiello Construction offered to drive down to Pennsylvania, and they picked up the enclosure that we had the fundraiser for. So that was great for me, and I truly appreciate that help. And it's sitting in the backyard,
Oh, wow.
and the permit has been submitted to the town. So now we're
Mhm.
just waiting on the building department to give us the okay to start the construction. It would be great to be able to put it up before the snow hits because we do have animals that are waiting to get into that space.
Right.
Long-term animals that have injuries, whether they're going to miss migration and they need a place to stay, or I took a great horned owl out of a soccer net and the
Oh,
feathers are very much damaged. It can't be released that way, so it needs to stay and have the feathers sort of mold out and make sure when feathers are damaged, they don't fly silently and they can't catch their prey. So it's not fair to let them go in that situation. We need to give them the time and space to be able to heal. So I have some patients waiting to go into the space. So I really hope it goes up before the weather gets cold.
now when you get the animals, how do you make them more relaxed to like you?
So I don't necessarily want them to like me. I just want to
Right.
make them comfortable. So when
Right.
they get here, I have a space that's all to themselves downstairs where we have, a fridge, freezer with their food, medication.
Oh, wow.
Right off the bat, if you brought me an animal, I take its weight. I do a bunch of calculations to see if it's dehydrated, it gets an injection. I'll give an injection of fluids. I'll give them injection of pain medications to control any pain they're feeling. A lot of things that we've been seeing right now are rodenticide. So if you put something out to kill mice or rats,
Right.
these animals, these raptors are eating it and they can't clot.
Oh,
So I've been seeing patients this week where there's a lot of bleeding that isn't controlled. So then I give them an injection of vitamin K, and that will usually take the edge off and let them relax. And then I leave them be. So I will monitor them,
right.
but I get those pain medications on board, triage, clean up any wounds.
Mhm.
I also have oxygen here, which is great. So if something has head trauma, I have a chamber that I can set them up in, deliver the oxygen to help alleviate any other issues, because head trauma is a big problem and it's one of the
Yeah,
number one things we see.
I
Being
can
hit by
see that.
cars,
Yeah.
striking windows, things like that. We see things that get shot.
Mm.
So for me, it's making them as comfortable as possible and then letting them be. Because the more that I'm around them, the more stressed out they get. So my time with them is minimal after they're assessed.
Oh, right, because right, they're used to being
Mhm.
independent.
Right.
And how many animals are you allowed to have for now?
So I don't have a limit.
Okay.
I don't have a limit. So if I have no space, I will say no. Most of the things that come in here, like I said, they are very injured, showing up after hours. So my biggest thing is if you got hit by a car, you need to see a doctor. You can
Yeah.
come here and get triaged and get medical care right off the bat. And they eat mice. I have rats. I have chicks, quail that I can feed these raptors. But the biggest thing is the next day they need to go to the hospital. They need to have an X-ray done. They need to have blood work, and that's not something I do here. I'm sort of like
Right.
if you get your hip replaced, you go to the doctor, and then you
Right.
may go to rehab after. I'm the rehab after. I can definitely take things in and do the basic triage, but
Mhm.
for me, you need to see the doctor so we can figure out what exactly is going on. And they may call me the next day. They may call me in a month from now and say he needs long-term care, and then I can take the bird in. But I'd say, we had close to 60 birds come through this year.
Oh,
It was
wow.
a very, very busy year. I don't know if it's due to with COVID and other centers just stopping the emergency hours, or there's a lot of people outside now. So many people are working from home,
Yeah.
or the kids are home and they're outside finding lots of things that maybe wouldn't have been seen before.
Well, one of the benefits of COVID, I have to say, is the animals are coming out.
Yes, that's very true. They are coming out.
Pollution is down. If they look at I think the astronauts saw the Earth being cleaner. They're coming out
Hmm.
and saying, "Where do the humans go?"
Right,
They're
right.
hungry. They're hungry. Now,
Yeah. So there's been
yeah, they
a
like us.
lot a lot more animals this year than I've ever taken in all my years of rehab. This was the highest year.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they're hungry. They feel safe.
hmm.
We'll see what happens later on. So, I think you were going to show us one of the animals. For those tuning in, this is Robin Miller from Miller Chat. Today, I'm interviewing Jessica Zorge, who is a licensed wildlife rehabber from Raptor Tales. She has gone for the moment to get one of the animals to talk about on the air. So this is something your child or children will enjoy seeing, as well as adults. I don't know about pets. So we're just waiting for her to return with one of the animals, and she'll tell you more about it. And we'll take it from there. And just to let you know, the upcoming show for the end of the year will be an author to talk about Be Happy, and that will be coming out sometime in November. And that will be for the end of the year for me in terms of my shows. So we'll just wait until Jessica comes back for the moment. And if you have any ideas for shows, oh, here she is. Wow, look at that. Hey, buddy. What's the name?
So her name is Blue, like the color blue.
Uh-huh.
My daughter actually named her.
Oh.
She is a barred owl, and she lives here. And I have a permit to possess her. So she actually belongs to the federal government, and I am her caretaker. So legally, we have to do 12 programs a year, where we usually visit. We visited all of the elementary schools here in Shrewsbury, and we do programs with special needs as well, and talk about wildlife conservation, what to do if you find an owl, and just basic facts about owls. So she is a little over 2 years old. We are sure she's a female. We've blood tested her.
Oh.
And her situation, if you want to know how she got here,
yes,
someone found her on the ground as a little fluff ball, and they thought they were doing the right thing, and they kept her. So they took her home. And they were feeding her chicken and beef and things that owls don't usually eat. And they reached out for help and asked, how can we keep her as a pet? Now it's illegal to do that. So she was dropped off, and the biologists can sometimes take these babies and put them in a nest with others of the same age. And they tried to do that, and she failed. She wanted nothing to do with the mother bringing food. She wanted nothing to do with the other baby owls. So they brought her back in, and they did it a second time. And again, she wanted nothing to do with any owls of her kind. So what has happened to her is it's called imprinting. So imprinting means during a critical stage of her learning to hunt, learning her food source, she's associating with people. So now she thinks she associates us as her kind and not owls, which is really sad because physically there's nothing wrong with this bird. She can fly, she can see. Right. She has no idea how to hunt. She would have no idea how to fend for herself out there. So this is totally caused by a person who didn't mean to, but now she can never go back into the wild because of this. So she's here with us, and she's a great ambassador. She sees lots of kids usually every year, and we go out and talk about how to help them and what the right thing to do is and who to contact and how to attract them to your yard and things like that. So that's the barred owl, and they are one of the only dark-eyed owls we have in Massachusetts, if you can see her. Other owls we have are screech owls. We've got great horned owls. We've got saw-whet owls that come through. Snowy owls are migrant here. They don't stay here. But barred owls are my favorite.
It's so beautiful. Does she know? Does she see? I wonder if she knows I'm human.
I'm sure she's very
Blue. Hi, Blue. Does she know her name?
She does know her name.
Blue. Hi.
But see, she's looking around. Like I told you, when we're here doing this, she knows she can get away more. If we're in a school, she's very calm, and here she's very used to being out and about. So,
wow. And so, I do. So, we have therapy dogs, and I haven't heard of an owl being a therapy pet. But if nursing homes would be interested in doing Zoom kind of things.
I would love to do that. I haven't explored that, but if anyone was interested in doing that, I'd be more than happy to do some Zooms with her.
Yeah, because I do Zooms with some.
Yeah, I think that maybe they would
programs.
Enjoy it.
And I talk about the dog, and my dog just sleeps. It's another place to sleep. So yeah, it does. I think anytime people see animals, especially now, it's very calming. I mean, I don't know if owls are therapy pets yet because there's certain criteria, but while people are home and they need that stimulation, why not?
Yeah, if anyone would like to and reach out, I'd be happy to to talk about owls. I don't know if you want me to talk about any structural features of the
Go ahead.
owl.
I'm, like I said, I'm a pet owner, but the more I learn about wildlife, the more interested I become. So please, I welcome you to talk about blue.
Sure. So, like I said, they're one of the most common owls we have here in Massachusetts. A lot of things don't prey on them, but great horned owls who are larger can prey and eat barred owls. Barred owls can eat screech owls. It's sort of the circle of life. The strongest one would be preying on the smaller one. They do get their name, barred, Barred, from the barring on the chest. It looks like she's got bars, so the barred owl. And then her toes, which you can't really see. There's two here and two in the back, and it's called, you might try to fly. She's zygodactyl, meaning that they can pivot, which is a really great feature for helping to capture prey. And they eat mammals, they eat small reptiles, they can do snakes and things like that, frogs. She doesn't eat that in captivity. She has mice and rats and things like that. There's the facial disc, which is all around this area. It looks a circular pattern of feathers, helps to channel in sound. So when she's trying to catch prey at nighttime, her ears, they're big holes. I can't show you on here, but they're holes that are located on the side of her head. And one is here and one is down here. They're higher and lower. So when the noise comes in, it helps to channel and funnel in that sound. And so does this disc shape of the feathers to help her pinpoint where her prey is. And she can go up to in snow to find something under the snow to catch it. So that's a pretty neat feature for them.
Wow, beautiful. Now, does she like to be petted?
No. She's still wild. I mean, she tolerates me, but she doesn't like being pet. No.
Oh, and how is she with loud noise?
With loud noises?
Yeah, say your fire alarm goes off in your house.
She's okay. I had to condition her, so it was a lot of training with car rides, taking her outside on walks and meeting people who have dogs, other people. When we go to the schools, we do have a distance around us. No one's allowed to touch her, but I do have parts of an owl. Unfortunately, that was hurt by a car. So I have wings and talons and a tail. So the children, if they choose to, they are allowed to touch and understand. If you swing the wing back and forth and close your eyes, you're not going to hear any sound because the way the feathers are produced, it's a silent flight. So they can experience touching these parts and exploring feather patterns and how sharp the talons are and things like that. And I also bring a little cast because owls can't digest the bones and feathers. Fur. So when they eat, they produce these big pellets, and you can dissect them and see parts of chipmunks or parts of a snake. So those are also another feature of what owls do. I always ask, how much do you think she weighs?
10 pounds.
She's 1.6 pounds.
Really?
Yep. So it's all feathers.
Oh, wow.
All feathers, and her bones are hollow. So that's a feature of birds that's great, and it allows them to fly easily, to be lightweight, but it also can be a downfall because if they get hurt or injured, it's almost like a plastic straw, a straw breaking. Their bones are just so brittle. So
now, do you have to bring it to the vet?
I do. I have a wildlife vet that I work with for checkups. Knock on wood, we haven't had anything major going. We do have to trim her beak and her talons. So I say it's like a spa day, but it is a 2-person job to do that.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Wow. And how is she with dogs?
She doesn't get too close, but if we ever came into a situation where there was a service dog, for her to stay calm and things like that. We did go to the blessing of the animals last year, and we stayed in the back corner, and she did fine.
And when you take her out wearing a mask, is she spooked by that?
The masks?
Yeah.
It seems like I think she has a little bit of a hard time because she can't see anybody's face. But she's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, dogs, they think we have muzzles on. To them, we're wearing muzzles.
Right.
The dogs. And how does your cat get along with the bird?
So the animals aren't really allowed near her. So she has her own enclosure, and then So they're not allowed to like have any contact with her.
So the cat doesn't try to go and try to have dinner.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, they're not in the same space.
And where does Blue live in your house? Is she outside, inside,
So she has an indoor enclosure right now, while
downstairs?
everything is getting sorted with the outside. Um,
Uh-huh. Cool. That is
mhm.
so cool. Well, we have less than 3.5 minutes left. Did you want to talk about any upcoming programs you have coming up, or when is the grand opening for when everything is ready to
Oh,
go?
I wish I could tell you when the grand opening was. As soon as we get the okay for the permit,
Uh-huh.
we will be starting the construction. I don't think it would take, Mass Yellow Construction is great and they're helping us. It wouldn't take more than a few days. So once we know when we can start actually putting the structure up, then we can figure out a day where it would be a celebration of it being the beginning of Raptor Tales. I don't have any upcoming programs, but if anyone is looking to have one, please reach out to me. Nursing homes or schools, if they want a little session on owls and conservation or wildlife rehabilitation, I'm totally looking forward to that too.
Well, they need something to do,
Hmm.
especially the remote. Now, my son goes to hybrid, and when they go out for recess, they're all standing and looking at each other
Yeah,
in Sherwood. So I'm like, what fun is that?
my daughter's
But
in
it's,
school too, so
yeah.
yeah, we're all
But
adapt.
well, they could probably do remote, or you can do it. They trying to keep them outside before winter, and you could do an outdoor program.
Right.
Wearing a
Yeah, I'm
mask.
open to if anyone needs any sort of program, I would be more than happy to do that with her. We really like going and talking to the kids or the senior center.
That would be awesome. Is it okay if I take a print screen, a
Yeah.
screenshot? All
Oh
right.
wait, let's see if she's gonna look. She'll look. Ooh.
Oh, what kind of noise does she make?
She hoots.
Oh, that's what I was hearing. And she's okay
Mhm.
when you go to bed. She doesn't cry and say, "I want company."
She doesn't know. I
Oh,
mean, she's supposed to sleep all day and be up all night, but with our
oh,
schedule, it's sort of changed. When we were doing
oh.
lots of programs before COVID, it was very different, but she's adapting. I'm adapting.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we have less than a minute. So just tell us what your website is and how people can contact you.
So I have Raptor Tales Rescue. I just have a Facebook page right now. I don't have an actual I don't have
Oh,
an actual website, but I do
okay.
have a Facebook page for the rescue. And we also just started. We launched a fundraiser, a T-shirt fundraiser that launched yesterday. It's going for 2 weeks. If anyone's interested in supporting and getting a really great T-shirt with some owls and a great logo on it. So if you are looking to contact me, it would be Raptor Tales Rescue on our Facebook page. And if you have an injured raptor too, my contact phone number is there, or you have questions of anything that you're seeing that you have a question about regarding raptors, I'd be happy to answer them or help you if the bird of prey is injured.
Wow. Well, I thank you very much, Jessica Zorge, licensed wildlife rehabber, for coming on my show of Rapture Tales. This has been really exciting for me, and I thank you so much. And like I said, I thank you for the work you do, because I consider you a first responder for the raptures.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great October. Take care. Bye bye.